What's up, guys? Still Christoph here for another Elestrals video, and we're going to go over a couple more of the reveals. First one being artifact support, and I'm ready for it.
The time for artifacts in Elestrals is right now. You didn't think I'd leave behind my man Hephaestus, did ya? Let's dive in. Yesterday we broke down our incredible 8 spirit arts and some new full arts, including full art eruption. So if you missed that one, check it out. But we're going to be throwing down with some of Hephaestus' strongest soldiers here in this breakdown video. It is going to be so hype, man. Artifacts are on the table now, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys pre-order Firestorm if you haven't done so yet. You can do it at shopelestrals.com. Pick up an incredible double starter deck bundle for just 25 bucks. Comes with 4 packs. And don't miss out on our amazing booster boxes of...
And make sure you use my affiliate code in the link down below
as well to get some stellar rares, our new reverse stellar rares, and everything in between, including code cards that give you free caster coins. You get stamp promos and even more free stuff. It's gonna be awesome. Without further ado, let's talk about Hephaestus' first champion. That is gonna be Rumacol, champion of Hephaestus. This Rumacol has a very, very cool effect. It's a 3 attacker with 2 defense that says when you cast this Rumacol, you can return an artifact rune from your underworld to your hand. This Rumacol gets +1 attack for each enchanted artifact rune on the field.
So very similar ability to its normal effect. I believe it gets a +1 for Volcanic Forge for additional spirits. So it's like +2 basically. Good to grab an artifact back. I know they show Hammer of Hephaestus. My personal one would be the Torch of Hestia. Again, +2 attack. It only costs you 1. Every time you declare an attack, you foretell 3. So that's a really cool effect. Gets +1 attack for each enchanting artifact on the field. So again, it doesn't even have to be to itself. But again, you're going to equip Torch of Hestia to this, and it's going to bump up to a 6 attack. So that's still not bad.
Yours and your opponent. So simply by casting an artifact,
yeah,
you're going to give this thing +1 attack. So any artifact like Torch of Hestia that's giving it buff is going to actually buff this even further and turn it into quite a powerhouse. And you have the flexibility of being able to grab an artifact from your underworld, so that way you have some opportunities to be able to get this thing juiced up and ready to rock and roll. Of course, you gotta give some love to that incredible armband on that Rumacol, very much so resembling Hephaestus. This card is gonna be super duper cool, but I'll tell you what, the next couple cards I'm gonna reveal are way cooler. Up next, we've got Scavacol, champion of Hephaestus, one of my favorite design effects we've ever done. This card hits the field with 6 attack and 6 defense, 2 cost fire, and it has an insanely powerful effect. This Scavacol in your hand can special ascend from your Fire Elestral if you have at least 2 enchanted artifact runes on your field. So if you're able to get 2 artifacts in your field and a Fire Elestral, you can special ascend it into Scavacol. But what makes this card really unique is it also says artifacts that were empowering that Elestral start empowering this Scavacol instead.
That's something that artifacts have been severely lacking in Elestrals, and I am completely for it. I also said, I think, was it Cypermaul? I wish Cypermaul's effect was very similar to an enchant to a different Elestral. But that aside the point, that's a really cool effect. And the fact that they showed Torch of Hestia equipped to the Rumacol, so that's +4. This guy would be a 10 when it's hitting the field, plus the foretell effect. Either that, if you even go a different route, if you're playing more of a Dragalis deck and you're going to play Solar, you can even use Golden Fleece in that scenario. Golden Fleece and Torch of Hestia bump this guy up to an 8/8, and then it's protected once from destruction.
Being sent to the underworld. This is something a lot of people always seem to ask about Elestrals, is when you ascend an Elestral and they have an artifact on them, does it keep the artifact? And the answer is no. But the answer is now yes with this Scavacol. So now you can freely ascend your Elestral into Scavacol, and you can do so with a special ascend, so you can turbo it out, and you're not going to lose those artifacts.
If I'm reading it correctly too, you don't even have to turbo ascend. You can just ascend and still keep that equipment.
And those spirits that were previously empowering the Elestral you ascended. I'm sure you guys could think of some spicy applications for this, but Scavacol here is looking to do some massive damage for artifact decks in Firestorm. Now that's all good and dandy, some new artifact support, but you're probably still thinking, Dan, Hephaestus still isn't that good. But that's going to change right now, because we are introducing one of the most powerful cards we've ever created, something that is going to jumpstart Hephaestus and his strategy to an entirely different realm, and that is his Ace Elestral, Volcaries, champion of Hephaestus. This Volcaries sports awesome braids reminiscent of Hephaestus, his divine, and this is going to hit the field with 4 attack and 2 defense, and helps him in the forge create the incredible artifacts all across Elestrals. And man, oh man, this effect gets me excited. When you cast this Volcaries, you can search your deck for Hephaestus and add it to your hand. So you immediately have Hephaestus searching abilities here. So you can get your artifact consistency, you can get your Divine Rune consistency, you can set up for those Nexus plays. While Hephaestus is enchanted, you may also use fire spirits from your underworld to play artifact runes.
That's actually kind of broken. So, again, Hephaestus' main search ability is artifacts. Its only search ability is artifacts. But the fact that you can now get Volcaries, you can search for your Hephaestus, you can use Hephaestus to grab a rune, and then go ahead and just enchant from Underworld is pretty good. Add that as well to bringing artifacts back from Underworld, and then going ahead and using those spirits, because of Volcaries, you're going to grab the spirits from Underworld, use those to power your invoke and your counter runes, and just repeat the cycle. Never-ending spirits. Obviously, you got to protect your spirit deck itself, but just able to reuse spirits from the Underworld consistently, that's going to be tough to beat. 4/2, decent stats. Again, you give it any artifact in the game, almost every one of them gives you at least +1, so that'll bump them up to a 5. But again, even Torch of Hestia, if you're going to go Hammer Hephaestus, which me personally, I really don't ever play that card. But it doesn't matter what artifact you're going to equip this guy, it's going to be a tank. And again, just the fact that you can grab Hephaestus is pretty awesome. Especially if you're running 2 or 3, it just gives you, you know what I mean? That's the one thing I love about Divine Champions going forward, is that every element is getting its own searcher for Divine. Now, Elechick was the universal one, limited to 1. I get that. And then you did have Fallen Lit by Valkyries. I can't think of the other ones right now, but we did see some other ones so far in these videos. So I am happy that each element is getting its own Divine Searcher, so you don't have to try to side in the Thunder for Elechick or Plucky in the Solars. Very cool card, man. Very cool card.
You heard that right. That means that you get free artifact casts with your Volcaries. You play your Volcaries, you search out your Hephaestus, you play your Hephaestus, you disenchant from Hephaestus to search your deck for artifacts, and then you use the spirits that are in your underworld to play your artifacts, making Volcaries insane. And then you have the ability to turbo into Scavicle and keep those same artifacts.
That's true.
So much potential here for artifact decks, and Volcaries is going to be an essential piece of that, enabling Hephaestus and his pure power here in Elestrals Divine Champions Firestorm. Those new Elestrals are going to change how we look at artifacts.
That's also a deck too. If you think about it, you're not going to run many counter runes. You're going to be having all those artifacts. I mean, you're going to run your Gorgons and probably your shield, but necessarily you don't need many of the counter runes. Being able to search for artifact and play them from Underworld, you're going to be able to beat over and you're going to be able to counter strike your opponent most of the time.
But any good blacksmith has a few tools in his tool belt that he needs, and we know that Hephaestus already has his hammer, but now it's time for us to break out the Anvil of Hephaestus. This new artifact rune is a 1-cost artifact that says the empowered Elestral gets +1 attack. Then it goes on to say that when an artifact rune on your field is sent to the underworld, you can enchant each spirit that was enchanting that artifact rune from your underworld to a card on your field. That is bonkers. I don't know if you guys realize what...
Just, again, complete recycling. Bring them back on the field, use them. I mean, if you're running Kinleo or Exalt Flare for your Nexus effects, if you want to go ahead and use those for your Invoke or your counter runes, a never-ending supply of spirits. They get sent back to the Underworld, play an artifact, do it all over again. Again, Valkyrie's on field. Every time you play an artifact, you're taking the spirits from Underworld for activation. So just keep repeating that cycle.
Can do, but this basically means that any of those spirits that you perhaps cast out for free with your Volcaries, or just in general, when those cards are sent to the Underworld, you get to keep those spirits, and you can essentially re-enchant them to other cards in your field, which can enable receive effects, it can enable Elestrals that get powered up through the Volcanic Forge, and it has a lot of awesome implications as more protection for artifact decks. This is searchable through Hephaestus, and it's going to allow you to kind of maintain your strategy, and otherwise a game plan that's pretty cost intensive, right? Playing artifacts can be very expensive, and up until this point haven't necessarily been as useful, but being able to pair Anvil of Hephaestus alongside some of these artifacts allow you to keep the spirits free from using your underworld. You can utilize your Volcaries to do that. Keep them on the field when you ascend with your Scavicle. Give yourself different attack buffs with your Rummacle, and then of course maintain those spirits on the field with your Anvil if your plan does not go exactly as you envisioned. Very, very awesome stuff. And to further help our artifact decks, I'm still not done, we've got a brand new Invoke rune for Fire that is going to be so massive to help enable these decks. It is a 1-cost Invoke rune called Reforge, featuring some cute little Vellebees.
The Vellebees are cute. Return artifact rune from your underworld to your hand. Return spirits equal to the artifact's enchantment cost from your underworld to your spirit deck. Again, I talk about recycling. This entire deck is going to be just recycling spirits and recycling artifacts. Again, you're going to definitely be running 3 of these in your deck. It's only going to cost you 1. And to go a step further than this, it might cost you 1, but if you're also playing all the other cards that we've talked about and you're able to enchant from Underworld using Valkyrie's effect, go ahead, do your Nexus shenanigans, and even use the Anvil's effect. When it gets destroyed, you can go ahead and put it onto a different spirit. Use Reforge. You're going to get the artifact back, number 1, and then number 2, you're going to use one of those spirits that was just transferred over. So this is going to be a free card. A free card plus a heal.
Turn an artifact rune from your underworld to your hand. Return spirits equal to that artifact rune's enchantment cost from your underworld to your spirit deck. This means that you can trade your Reforge for another artifact. Very simply put, you basically play Reforge, you grab an artifact out of your underworld, add it to your hand, and then based on that enchantment cost of that artifact, you can heal spirits. Absolutely massive. So many cool tools for the Hephaestus tool.
The only negative thing I've seen for Divine Champion so far, and I want to point this out there, and once we get to the point, we might have to discuss it with people in Elestrals. They're bringing all these cards in to recycle spirits and make the matches last longer, right? So right now, our premier events, our best of 3 are 50 minutes, and there's people that do go to time, not even meaning to. So the fact that we're going to have this, which is more of a stall game, like a heal stall, I wonder if they're going to have to extend it. I mean, even if they extend it to an hour for a best of 3, I don't know. It's going to be tough. But again, you're just going to be recycling spirits, going to be being more the aggressor. But if you have 2 people playing the same deck back and forth, it's going to be never ending. You're going to be sitting there for a while.
Now, being able to utilize artifact runes in a unique way, maintain spirits on board, regenerate spirits from your underworld, and get the most amount of value out of those artifacts to enable that style of play into the game, where previously it was very underpowered. I think there's a lot of really cool implications here in Firestorm for artifact decks, Hephaestus, and his brand new champions. I hope you guys are as amped up about this one as I am. I love this reveal. This is one of my...
Guys, hold tight 1 second. We're going to go to a second video. All right, guys, round 2. This one's going to be about special casting Galaxair.
Firestorm introduces a brand new Wind Divine in Hermes, but we haven't forgotten about our old jolly friend Aeolus, that's for sure. It's time to break down some brand new champions of Aeolus in our Firestorm reveals. Let's dive in. Yesterday's reveals were nuts. If you didn't see the artifact breakdown for Hephaestus, you should definitely check that out. And make sure you guys get your Firestorm pre-orders in with us and with your LGS to get our exclusive Stellar promos, Stellar Exaltair when you go to shopelestrals.com, and Stellar Emphyrix Champion of Hestia when you head to your local game store. We've got amazing starter decks, booster boxes, accessories, our best set yet, no doubt about it. Take advantage of Elestrals Divine Champions Firestorm and the incredible cards that are coming. But it's time for us to break down some brand new champions of Aeolus, some very powerful cards that you guys can get excited for. So let's just dive in. The first one, Titanostock, champion of Aeolus. Now this may be a curveball because Titanostock is obviously an Earth Elestral, but he does represent my man Aeolus because he's up in the clouds and he's got all sorts of amazing Wind Elestrals flying around him. This Titanostock comes to the field with 2 attack and 5 defense, so he is a very bulky boy, and his effect is really cool. You can Nexus an Earth Spirit or a Wind Spirit. When you do, you can enchant a Wind Spirit to your field.
So this is going to be really good for your Wind decks in general, being the Nexus Wind, but it also gives Earth not only another Nexus Elestral, but a 5 defense. This is the same stats as Bunny. Bunny is very hard to get off field consistently. So the fact that we got same exact stats feels great. Also, thinking Frostfall, have you ever heard of Neandersloth? I am super excited about this. Neandersloth has a broken effect. Its secondary effect, which isn't as broken, gives it +7 when the Titanostock is in Underworld. So the fact that now you have a Titanostock that has decent stats that, hey, you know what? You're going to destroy it. All right, cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and have my big boy. Or, better yet, this guy can stay on field, deal with, say, a Viscerus or a Spectaris trying to destroy it, ascend next turn to Neandersloth, get that added bonus to those secondary effects. I'm super happy for this one.
What this means is that Titanostock can now immediately put on something.
And also looking at the card art, you can see the Verituka right there. Verituka, when it attacks an attack position Elestral, if it has equal or more spirits, it's immediately suppressed and destroyed, the opponent's Elestral. So again, use your Nexus shenanigans to add spirit to that Verituka.
Amounts of Nexus pressure and provide amazing amounts of support.
I even noticed the Stratomoth and the P-Gust
Many of the
behind
cards
it.
within Wind have incredible receive effects. Wind Jin, P-Gust, Nemisail. Some of these cards are really strong when they get to activate their receive effects, but activating those effects multiple times can sometimes be challenging. Titanistock now provides you with a 5 defensive backbone that allows you to not only...
I didn't even think about that though. Yeah, you Nexus Wind to one of those receivers. All right, cool. Say it's P-Gust, pop a face down. Next up, enchant Wind to it, pop into the face down.
Your Wind Spirits, 2 cards like your P-Gust and your Nemisail to activate their effects, but it's when you do effect will then trigger their effects an additional time, which means you can get double Rune Pop with P-Gust, you can get
even
4
Mudlet
Spirits Heal
too
with Nemisail, and I'm sure you guys can think of some other awesome implications of a card like Titanistock, which adds new defensive prowess to the Wind deck.
I mean, you can't enchant Wind. You could enchant Wind to it, but even Clovey. Clovey's a receive. When it sees Earth, you draw a card. So same thing. You can do a Nexus shenanigans and just start drawing cards left and right.
Enables Nexus strategies to another level. I just love the ability to highlight some of those Elestrals that maybe didn't really see a ton of play in base set and beyond, and kind of give them new life here in Firestorm, and I think Titanistock is a great example of that, as we showcase it on our Full Art Earthquake, and now we're bringing it into the fold here as a champion of Aeolus. Now, I've been very transparent about the fact that I want to encourage more Ascensions and Elestrals, because I believe that creates exciting gameplay, and we've seen...
Point out that he's showing Leonite. I just want to point that out real quick. This reveal has nothing to do with Leonite. I've never seen this reveal once. This is not a blind reaction. The fact that he's showing Leonite, keep that in the back of your minds moving forward to either this set or even the next set. Leonite is when it's in attack position, no player can activate Invoke Runes. So you're not Earthquaking, you're not Cryoblasting it. This is one of the few cards that is protected by Cryoblast, even though it has a super weak defense.
Over Moonrise and beyond, and I think you've seen some of the strategies here and new cards introduced in Firestorm to enable just that. And we've got an additional card today that is going to enable Aeolus and the Wind strategy to turbo out to 2 costs very effectively, and that is Galaxair, Champion of Aeolus. I love this card art, by the way.
Normally I let them finish and then go over it. I want to pause. That card art is gorgeous. First of all, Galaxair being that big makes sense, but look, that's gorgeous. And then you see Aeolus flying around right there. Like, I can't get over this card. Like, this is absolutely gorgeous. This needs to be a holo. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a holo because you can see the little Elestral icon over here, and then you can see the stars throughout. So this should be a holo, and it does show that it's a rare. 1 attack, 3 defense, super weak. When you add this Galaxair to your hand with your Aeolus effect, you can special cast it with Wind. So very good. Again, this is a Turbo Ascension. This is completely Turbo Ascension. Even hopefully you have something on field. And again, you guys know me. I always speak Pantera. It's got the best stats in the game. Go ahead and have an Elestral on field. You're going to use Aeolus effect, grab your Galaxair. Now you get to special cast it, ascend using both into Pantera. Or even a step further, you have no Elestrals in hand except for Pantera, and you have 2 Aeolus. Use them both, grab 2 Galaxairs. They both get to come out at the same time. Again, ascend into Pantera. I'm all for this. Shout out to Soren Plays. This is perfect for Falcane too. As you guys saw in the last premiere event, Falcane won the entire tournament. You can expend 1 win to destroy all runes on field, or you can expend 2 to destroy just your opponents. So again, even Turbo Ascension into that, and then that's a powerhouse. That's a 7-3. Not many stats are going to get over that without some help, number 1. And then number 2, 3 defense, protects from Cryoblast.
Galaxair flying through the sky and Aeolus flying alongside him. And this is a 1-cost Wind Elestral with 1 attack and 3 defense with a very cool effect. When you add this Galaxair to your hand with your Aeolus' effect, you can special cast it with Wind. One of the big advantages to utilizing Aeolus and Wind Elestrals is the toolbox, the ability to be able to search your deck for whatever Wind Elestral you need at any given time, to be able to get them onto the field and deal massive amounts of damage or execute your game plan. And Galaxair, Champion of Aeolus, enables that in a new way, by being able to be searched out by your Aeolus effect and then immediately special cast out to the field.
Sorry guys, I had to deal with something at the front door, but let's go ahead and continue the video.
By your Aeolus effect, and then immediately special cast out to the field to set up for an Ascension play, or provide the necessary spirits
even Chrysor too.
Form a Nexus or whatever it may be.
Chrysor is a really good point too, able to ascend into the Chrysor, attack your opponent directly, and he actually heals spirits every time you do.
this card is going to be awesome. I don't know if you're going to run 3 of these in an A-list deck, but tacking in 1 could be exactly what you need to make sure you get your Ascensions off at the right time. And going along with that, it's time to reveal a brand new full art for Divine Champions Firestorm, and that is the Galaxair Champion of A-list full art.
Again, just gorgeous. Just a gorgeous card.
Thank goodness. Talk about a gorgeous card.
You can actually see that there's a couple of Sorlets. You got Aeolus, you got the Galaxair itself. I feel like there's something in the background underneath the swirls. I can't really tell what that is, though.
Not gonna lie, you guys get to see Galaxair in its full potential here. You've got some Sorlets flying around. You've got Aeolus taking to the skies as well. This one is just such a gorgeous painting. And again, I can't emphasize enough how proud I am of our art team for really going the extra mile on every single piece of art and really stepping things up, man. I mean, I think our cards are just gorgeous. Our full arts have never been better, and this Galaxair is a perfect example of that. Up next, we've got one of Aeolus's favorite Elestrals, of course, none other than Sorlet, champion of Aeolus. This little piggy is sleeping across Aeolus's chest and comes to the field with a very cool effect. 4 attack and 3 defense. This Sorlet, when it destroys an Elestral in battle, you can search your deck for an Aeolus or a champion of Aeolus and add it to your hand.
So, stats-wise, it's really not bad. Obviously, I prefer 5s, but that's a really good stat line. Yeah, him just sleeping on Aeolus's stomach, that's funny. And then able to search your deck for an Aeolus or a champion of Aeolus and add it to your hand. Very good effect if you need Aeolus to start turboing into stuff, like the Galaxair combo. Or the card you're about to see next is the reason why it has that effect.
Gives you the flexibility to get your Sorlet out as an offensive powerhouse, to be able to take down opponents' Elestrals, be able to search your deck for Aeolus to enable your strategies, or search your deck for a champion of Aeolus, which will allow you to further enhance your game plan or set up for future plays. And its Ascension, Chrysor, actually works incredibly well with this effect. Let me break it down. Chrysor is a brand new champion of Aeolus that hits the field with 7 attack and 3 defense, 2 cost win. I love this art, by the way. My man Aeolus riding the Chrysor with the Sorlet in his hand. Anyway, this effect says this Chrysor in your hand can special ascend from your Sorlet with wind during your battle phase if that Sorlet destroyed an Elestral in battle this turn.
So he's about to say it, but that also has to do with Sorlet's effect. Sorlet champion of Aeolus is going to destroy an Elestral in battle. I get to search my deck. I'm going to grab Chrysor. Because he destroyed an Elestral in battle this turn, I can still ascend and then attack again for bigger damage.
Let me break that down for you. Your Sorlet hits the field, it attacks over something, it has the ability to search your deck for an Aeolus or a champion of Aeolus, you can search Chrysor, and then you can special ascend your Sorlet into Chrysor right then and there because you had a Sorlet that destroyed an...
The key phrase in the text there is, if it destroyed an Elestral in battle this turn. So you do not have to do it right away, number 1. And then number 2, you don't... Oh, it has to be during... Alright, it does have to be during your battle phase, so scratch that. In case you want to do Argo shenanigans and ascend into it on your opponent's turn. Cannot do that. But again, you don't have to do it right away. So you can kind of try to start baiting your opponent and see what they're going to do. And if you feel like you say you have 2 or 3 Elestrals on field, they all got to attack this turn, go ahead and just do it at that point. You don't have to do it at that exact moment of destruction.
In the battle phase this turn. Very, very cool stuff and a very fast way to get on a 7 attacker, which can deal massive amounts of damage to your opponent's strategies. Not only that, but you can of course pair this with your base set Sorlet, the 5 attacking Sorlet, which is a staple card in many win decks, being able to change the position of opposing Elestrals. This Chrysor can ascend over that too, so it becomes a very effective draw piece if you're able to utilize your Sorlet and your Sorlet champion of Aeolus effectively. This Chrysor can surprise your opponents by hitting the field with immense amounts of power, dealing massive damage and turning the tide of the battle, making the winds blow your way, that's for sure. And you know I love me some amazing Stellar Elestrals. We got a brand new X out of 99 serialized Stellar coming in Divine Champions Firestorm, and that is none other than Stellar Chrysor, champion of Aeolus. I love us getting an Ascension in here.
I like how it kept the blue from the original Kickstarter Stellar Sorlet. X99 feels good. That's the art in general is a card that I'm very happy to see on X99. And then like you said, you got the whole flock basically flying behind them. So
this card art, man, Ryan crushed it. I think it's really cool seeing the Chrysors kind of flying across the way with their beautiful pink wings. You already know about the effect. You already know how awesome it is to pull a Stellar. This is going to be a really fun one for Windcasters. I know you guys are going to be pumped about it. And the champions of Aeolus are here to play and enhance that toolbox strategy to new heights here in Firestorm. Don't you forget to get those pre-orders in as we
Alright guys, here's another video of epic reveals. My name is still Christoph. I'll see you guys on the next video when we go over 2 more videos from Firestorm. Guys, hope you guys have a stellar day.
The Titans, no matter how strange, united